Whatever business, whatever world you're in, you're first in the business of technology. Now, I always say this, but the proof is in my hand. A shoe. Now, this is a shoe that has tech built into every pore and every square inch. It's the Adidas 4D shoe. And the really cool part about this is that, especially this area that you see in this little mint green, this webbing, which you can almost see right through, yeah, I can, is actually 3D printed. This is a limited edition. Very few shoes were printed. Can you imagine? I'm actually saying very few shoes were printed, and we've got one of them right here. I'll tell you what I felt when I went for a run with this, what's the energy return and how they actually created it. But there are other stories for sure. We've got, after 10 years, yes, the first ever MacBook Air. Steve Jobs pulls it out of a manila envelope in 2008. Became one of the most iconic products of all times, but it took them 10 years to give a refresh. I mean, there were times when we were using the MacBook Air, which was still selling, is still selling, and the eyes hurt because the screen was that bad. But this is an incredibly well put together notebook. We'll take you through this. Then, of course, we've also got the new iPad Pro, especially the smaller version with the stylus and the keyboard. We'll take you through all of that, and if it's going to be Adidas and Apple, it's got to be Amazon too. The new Kindle is with us. Let's get started.
Two new Apple products have made their way to India and in our studios, the iPad Pro and the MacBook Air. Will these powerful beauties replace your desktops? For avid readers, the latest Amazon Kindle Paperwhite is out, and this one is waterproof. And technology has reached the sole of your foot. These pair of Adidas shoes are actually 3D printed.
And before we get started with the rest of the show, let's take a look at all the news from the world of gadgets.
At one time a very popular television brand, Philips is now making a re-entry in the TV market. At a recent event in Mumbai, they launched their new range of 7 LED sets. The range starts from 22-inch Full HD LED priced at under 10,000 rupees. The top-end model is the 65-inch 4K UHD with 3-sided ambilight that adds to the sleek design of the TV set. The smart TV is priced at about 1.5 lakh rupees. The new range of Philips television sets will be available from mid-December. This may look like a phone, but it is actually a complete gaming rig in itself. Asus finally announced the much-awaited ROG phone in India after its global debut at Computex in Taiwan a few months back. The highlight is the 3D vapor chamber cooling system that features a carbon pad and copper spreader for additional cooling. It is powered by Snapdragon 845 and Adreno 630 GPU and has 8GB RAM with 128GB inbuilt storage. The 6-inch Full HD Plus phone has a battery of 4000 mAh and comes with a range of accessories as well. It is priced high at about 70,000 rupees but has the power to match a gaming console.
Our top story today is actually a dual story. No, it's not the shoe. I'll come to the shoe. I know a lot of you want to know about the shoe. But I'm going to start off with this. I told you when Steve Jobs pulled this out of a manila envelope almost 10 years back, a revolution started. At that time, thin and light meant something completely different. That was a time when netbooks were very, very famous. But Apple didn't go down that way. It built an all-metal, all-aluminium laptop that was this thin. People used to say, and I think my first joke out here on the show was, I could shave with this. I can still shave with this for sure. It's that thin. The wedge design is incredible. But I think the main thing that they've done with this, besides of course processor and the performance and everything else, is this incredible screen. The original MacBook Air had a screen for its own time, was fantastic, but over the years as competition grew and our eyes grew accustomed to very high resolution screens, the screen was just terrible. Remember, the original still sells, but this is the brand new one, the MacBook Air. I'm going to do a story that is very interesting right now. We're going to talk about the MacBook Air, the current one. We're going to actually have a comparison with the old one, but even more importantly, I'm going to give you a final recommendation at the end of it. Should you buy the MacBook Pro 13 or the new MacBook Air 13? That's our story.
A premium laptop which fits into an innocuous manila envelope. That was the charm of the original MacBook Air. Sleek, slim and a powerhouse machine. That is the proposition of the MacBook Air lineup. Let's find out if the new MacBook Air does justice to the legacy. We have the 13.3-inch variant with us with 256GB storage, which costs 1,34,900 rupees. If you're done gasping over the price, let's dive into the features. We have to admit that the design hasn't changed massively since the predecessor, but the display is where the upgrade is most noticeable. We now get a bigger 13.3-inch display with a resolution of 2560 by 1600 for over 4 million pixels. The Retina resolution is quite jaw-dropping and there are no complaints. We like the classic wedge shape, which is a benchmark now for the MacBook Air. It is 10% thinner than last year's MacBook Air and weighs only 1.25 kilos. So stuff it into a handbag, stack it between books or hold it in your arm. This is almost an arm candy. The downside to the slim design? We only get 2 USB-C ports, both supporting the Thunderbolt 3 standard. We would have liked some more, Apple. The design is a big USP here, and Apple claims that the new MacBook Air is the first to feature a case made of recycled metal. We applaud this green initiative. The MacBook Air claims to have sound that speaks volumes. The features match this claim, and the speaker system is the most powerful ever seen on a MacBook Air. The stereo speakers deliver twice the bass and 25% more volume than the previous generation. Fortunately, the trackpad is larger for you, so you wouldn't struggle while using it for different applications. This MacBook Air comes with Touch ID, and the power key features an inbuilt fingerprint scanner. It worked pretty fast when we tried it. And of course, security is something we all worry about when it comes to our digital footprint. Apple says all of your biometric data is stored directly on the T2 security chip, which promises high security. Coming to performance, this is one solid workhorse worthy of comparison with any premium laptop. The 8th generation Intel Core i5 processor gives it all the steam it needs, and we tried multitasking and it was a breeze. But we wouldn't recommend you use this for anything intensive like playing 4K games. And when it comes to the juice factor, you get around 9 to 10 hours of power on solid usage, though there is a 12-hour battery claim. So if you're someone who is a hardcore MacBook Air user, this is a significant upgrade, lighter in weight and with a great display. You're also getting a lot of MacBook Pro features at a lesser price. But do remember, almost 1,35,000 rupees still may be a lot of money, and you may just want to dole out a little more and buy the new MacBook Pro. Also note that the 2017 edition of the MacBook Air is now available at huge discounts and can be yours for around 50,000 rupees. But why do we get the feeling that loyalists are already queuing up for the new MacBook Air? It is, of course, one of the thinnest laptops with a super smooth experience.
Top story part 2. This is the iPad Pro. In 2 sizes, we brought the smaller one because I truly believe that portability is far more important when you buy the iPad Pro. But what we're going to do is, I'm going to talk about the 2 accessories. The main reason you'd buy an iPad Pro rather than the typical 10.5-inch iPad is because of these. Predominantly the pencil. If you're one of those creative types and can actually use it for design, then you can think of the bigger one also. But this is what really is the game changer. A lot of people now would buy the iPad Pro, and that really is the big question, because they now sell this, the Smart Keyboard Folio. And this really is a changer for everything else, because now it's got 2 little steps that you can actually have it. One is just to display for others, and one is for typing. Gives you the perfect overall angle. With this and this attached, is this an incredible portable computer for you to buy? So we'll answer all these questions in our review.
There was a time when the name Apple invoked visions of innovation, game-changing gadgets, and of course a premium price tag. While the legacy of innovation continues, we have to admit that the price tag seems to make most of us sweat buckets. And so with great anticipation and some sweaty palms, let's dive headfirst into the review of the stunning iPad Pro 11-inch variant with us, which costs a whopping 1,53,900 rupees for the 1TB Wi-Fi plus cellular version. The big change for us? Well, the removal of the home button has led to thinner bezels and the integration of the front camera and Face ID sensors. And yes, you notch naysayers, there is no notch on this one. Face ID worked well irrespective of the iPad orientation, which is a big plus. And now coming to the 2 sleek, albeit expensive accessories, the 2nd generation Apple Pencil costs 10,900 rupees and sticks magnetically to the iPad like this. Good news is you don't need to charge it separately or pair it manually, since it is automatically paired and charged once placed on the iPad. No one likes a spaghetti of cables, so we welcome this feature. Double tap on the lower end of the pencil to trigger action and use it to write notes and more. The second accessory we have with us is the new Smart Keyboard Folio, which costs 15,900 rupees for the 11-inch iPad. This covers the front and back of the iPad and fits into the magnets on the inside. With this keyboard, the iPad works almost like a laptop if that's what you're after. You get 2 viewing angles and you can either place this setup on a desk or on your lap. We don't like the fact that the keys are not backlit. The keyboard as well receives power from the smart connector and doesn't need to be charged. There is no lightning port on the iPad Pro, but there is a USB Type-C port which is useful if you want to transfer footage directly from another device. And yes, no headphone jack here, so we feel that's a big miss given the Pro tag of this iPad. We also don't like the fact that there is no Type-C to 3.5mm adapter or even a Type-C to Type-A dongle in the iPad box. Come on Apple, at this price point a little more inclusivity would have helped. The display is liquid retina and we have to admit it's one of the best we've ever seen. There is a fingerprint-resistant oleophobic coating, but unfortunately that doesn't stop the Gadget from being a fingerprint magnet. But the True Tone display makes up for it. All this is powered by the mighty brand new A12X Bionic chip backed by the M12 core processor and a 7-core GPU. So the performance is lag-free and almost twice as fast than the predecessor. A game-changing feature in this one is reverse charging. This is the big trend of the year and you can now use a tablet to charge other devices. In terms of hardware, the new iPad Pro has better cameras which come with portrait mode. But then again, does anyone really use cameras on a tab? There is an all-day battery life claim and this largely depends on your usage. So what do we think? Well, the US dollar's steady rise against the rupee has made Apple products in India very expensive propositions, and the iPad probably is the only one with the least price difference to the US. The performance here is going to give any rival a run for money. While it may be an expensive package with the accessories, the iPad Pro is possibly the best portable gadget for you to work on the go.
And now let's move on. One more addition to the Kindle Paperwhite. Now this has always been one of my favorites. Though the user case for Kindles is dwindling a little, because you now can get almost the same effect on your phones because screens have become really big, especially since the notch is being taken away, since you actually have no bezel left now. A lot of people now use the mode for reading, which almost makes it look like a Kindle. It doesn't hurt your eyes that much. The blue light is completely taken out. But this still remains the de facto standard. This really is the way to carry your books if you are a person that reads a lot. I've opened this and the first book on this is The Dream Doctor Mysteries. Now that's 2 categories in one. And no one in the show's team is actually acknowledging that they downloaded it. I think that the other reason is that the second one is all Chetan Bhagat books. So I'm just wondering if that's the reason that maybe they're not acknowledging that they actually had this Kindle. What's the difference? It's waterproof now. Therefore, if you are a person that likes 2 categories in your life, reading and swimming, and then kind of lounging around a swimming pool, this could be your best bet. More storage. So if you're the kind of person that doesn't like a book but likes many books, about 1,000 or so, this could be your way to go. Let's take a look at whether the battery life and the experience is any different from the previous one.
In today's world where you get functionalities of many different devices packed in a single gadget, many will think a standalone ebook reader serves little purpose. After all, even your phone offers apps that allows you to read books. But then there are avid readers who like the long battery life and the portability of an ebook reader.
Information that I consume is digital, and so when I have to compare that, rather than reading off the laptop, reading off the Kindle is always a lot more convenient for me.
I prefer books, but I wouldn't mind reading on a Kindle, but I would prefer books.
The storage is great, so I can store many things. So I think that would be the great thing. I don't have to, switch on the books. So again, switching on the books is paper wastage. So that will be great, I think, for me.
No wonder that Kindle is an amazing product because you can carry it everywhere and it's not heavy.
One thing I would like to say that is quite handy. ये छोटा लग रहा है और डिस्प्ले भी इसका अच्छा लग रहा है. मोस्टली इसको हम लोग ट्रैवल वगैरह करते हैं तो यूज करते हैं, या कभी कभी पढ़ते पढ़ते उसमें इतना डीपली पढ़ने लगते हैं कि उठ के हम लोग बाथरूम वगैरह में चले जाते हैं. तो ये अगर कहीं पे हाथ से गिरता है या इस पे कहीं कुछ चाय वाय पीते हुए कुछ गिर जाता है तो ये बहुत अच्छा है.
Opinions may be divided, but the fact is that Amazon sees potential in a device like the Kindle and has come out with the new edition of the Paperwhite. Measuring about 8mm and weighing about 180 grams, the 6-incher has a sharp 300 ppi resolution. The display can be controlled as per your preferred reading habit. It provides glare-free reading experience that does not hurt the eye even when you read for a long duration or in direct sunlight. The screen is single piece and not embedded as was in the previous Kindle models. This makes it easier to clean and there is no dirt that could get stuck to the sides. There are two variants, a Wi-Fi model with 8 GB storage and an LTE variant with 32 GB storage for those who would like to download books on the go. With that kind of storage, you can get the option to download close to 2,000 books on your device. You get access to a range of books on the Kindle, including different regional languages or genres. Some are free to download, just swipe if you want to turn the page over. However, to critics, it may not feel like a real page turn. The Kindle Oasis gives that kind of bookish feel. With the e-ink display, battery too is very efficient and the Kindle lasts you weeks on a single charge. The other big add-on here is that Amazon has made this one waterproof. It is IPX8 certified, which means it can take a splash of water or even a dip in the pool. If you're looking for an ebook reader, then this is the one that you should consider. The new Amazon Kindle Paperwhite Wi-Fi model is priced at 13,000 rupees and the LTE model is for 18,000 rupees. The Kindle as a product category may find few takers. Get this only if you're a hardcore heavy-duty reader. If you travel often and need your dose of books with you at all times but do not want smartphone distractions on your device, the Kindle could be a good fit.
And now time for what I did right in the opening, Adidas 4D shoe. Now, why is it called 4D? That I'll tell you in the review. I've told everybody out here, you must explore and tell me why. Because should have been called 3D, but then every shoe is 3D. The fourth dimension, according to me in this, is the fact that this is 3D printed. Now, it's got this web-like surface, and I have to tell you, I'm an avid runner. So for me, the shoe is a critical piece of equipment. In fact, it's pretty much the only other one other than a runner's watch, right? And what I look for in a shoe, besides all those things, that it must fit well, my stability of the foot must be fantastic, how I tread must be fantastic. The thing I look most for is energy return. I think ask any runner and they will tell you that that becomes the most critical. What is energy return? When you're actually running and your foot strikes the ground, what's the impact and what is the energy return that you come back? It makes you a much smoother runner. This of course is not for those people that are avid runners with no shoes, because you have zero energy return, right? But with these, the quest, the holy grail has always been to increase the energy return, to actually have the energy return back. Your performance actually increases by many a times. So what they did is they've actually 3D printed this shoe. Like I said right in the beginning, it's an exclusive because very few of these got printed globally, worldwide. I think the number is some double digit if I remember it correctly. Very few of these got printed. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it really changes in terms of your run. But most importantly, the story really is about how they created this 3D printed shoe.
From the books we read to the air we breathe, technology has reached and spread across every little sphere around us. Who would have guessed it would reach the sole of your foot? Adidas has come out with the FW18 Alpha Edge 4D shoe. It's wide, it's sleek, and it has a seamless fit when you wear it. The rubber outsole provides a good grip and traction across different terrains. The design is revolutionary, and as Rajiv mentioned, this is actually 3D printed with light and oxygen using digital light synthesis. The process uses digital light projection and programmable liquid resins to print high-performance durable polymeric products. It is interesting to note that the 3D printed shoe is called the Alpha Edge 4D. The fourth dimension is the data of every individual athlete that is collected to ensure that the shoe is customized with the required movement and cushioning according to the performance category. The shoe is lightweight, with every thread individually constructed to maximize performance when stitched at various angles. When walking, it absorbs pressure from any angle and returns the energy that propels the foot to move forward. The Alpha Edge 4D is priced high at about 28,000 rupees and is for a very, very niche audience, mainly athletes who take their fitness very seriously.
And before we go, I'm going to leave you with these images. This is the Acer event that a lot of people were looking forward to. Gaming now becoming a very important part of the Indian psyche, of the Indian feature set. And Acer, I think, is really hitting the market right. This was an event in Mumbai. It was called the Acer Night of the Predator.
calling attention of all gamers and those who aspire to be full-time gamers. Esports is here in India and it is here in a big way. Esports is a big competitive gaming championship where gamers compete at the highest level, not only to earn money but also prestige. One such event was held in Mumbai by Acer called the Night of the Predators. For all the naysayers who would want to know why would people want to watch someone play a video game and not just play it themselves? Well, don't you flock to stadiums to watch football and cricket when you play those sports in your backyard? The thrill is often in watching the way the game is played at the highest levels, and that exactly is the appeal for esports. Now, the two games that were on display at Acer's Night of the Predator were Dota 2 and PUBG. Dota 2 has a competition called the International, which has the highest prize pool in esports, and as far as PUBG is concerned, well, if you don't know about it, you've clearly been living under a rock. PUBG has grown to be one of the most played games in the world and also has a massive presence in India. This event attracted 14 different teams from across India to fight for a spot in the championship finals, taking place in Bangkok. There is a huge prize pool also involved, and most of these gamers are part of larger esports organizations. This gaming product, I say product because of the lack of a description for this amazing product, is gaming personified in a tangible entity. This just screams all things gaming, from the 3 screens to Acer's amazing hardware to the gaming seat that reclines. This is the future of gaming. Acer had it at the Night of the Predator and the audience just couldn't get enough of it. There was also a cosplay event with people dressing up as characters from PUBG, Dota 2, Overwatch and a whole lot more. The presence of a cosplay section at an event like this proves that India is truly embracing gaming culture, and this embrace has put us on the map.
That then is the show for this week, but I've got lots of very cool things, including a water bottle that you can speak on. Yes, it all happens on this show. See you next week.